So, to recap, Ida's unit stayed at this inn 10 days ago. Then they left the next day, and everyone except Ida hadn't been back since. But Ida herself has been spotted a couple times now, last sighting being 2 days ago. What's more, she's only been seen at night. Yeah, that about covers what we know. I guess it's possible she's working separately from the rest of her unit. But why would she do that? I just can't make heads or tails of it. Me neither. We sometimes split up during ops, but it's generally not a good call. Though even if she did put her unit on standby, why would she send herself out on the field? Why not a scout? No matter how you slice it, a Jaeger commander doing basic reconnaissance is weird as hell. Oh, and speaking of weird crap, what was with all the junk she was buying? You mean her bulk order of wiring? Yeah, that was certainly strange. And the mysteries don't end there. We now know that they haven't come back for food since they left. Yeah, no one saw Ida get grub either. I mean, you probably don't carry 10 days worth of food on you, right? Not to mention, something was really off about the wolves. They're acting real funny in both fights, especially the second one. Good to know I wasn't the only one who thought that. They looked like they were in a daze. No, scratch that, they looked downright petrified. I think they were driven by fear. Huh, maybe onto something there. What exactly could they have been so fearful of? That's the question, isn't it? They could just be scared of something, some other tough monsters, but maybe there's more sinister forces at work here. Well, whatever the answer is, I'm more convinced than ever that Ida's unit is somewhere near Krail. There's so many good spots for setting up camp around here. Yeah, like the hills from earlier, or the forest on the other side of the buckwheat fields. It's also a place further upstream. Still doesn't answer the question of how they're getting food, though. Well... ignoring the cough. Coming up and stealing crops. Okay, there's something someone mentioned that was useful a little bit before all this. Not that, but there was a short conversation. Thought I might be able to bring my market to the village, and I end up borrowing from its own market instead. Fresh vegetables, royal chili. They have a lot of things that I could work into my supplements. Okay, so they're not just wheat. Because I know that's a thing in, like, especially modern, where you have massive farms that basically farm one thing at a time in one massive way. And the fact that they're all wheat and there's a ton of wheat means that if they were doing that, would probably be the case. So obviously they have more going on. Maybe not as big of a scale, but vegetables, jelly. Can't picture them strolling up to a farm and stealing crops. Oh, like, if they're desperate, if something's going wrong. I could very much imagine that, especially if they have the option. Heck no, they've never stooped so low. Nah, I wouldn't rule that out, at the very least. Like, I wouldn't necessarily bet on it, especially since the game's telling me to not bet on it, but... oh, it'd be much easier for them to just buy the food from the village. Depends on the situation, but that's a very fair point, given that at least one of them was capable of, like, coming and paying for stuff, right? So if that was the case, you probably would have bought food and brought it back. It's not as though they're wanting from Mira, right? Yeah, the cost of food is chump change compared to weapons and ammo. And they don't gotta break the bank to afford to stay a 10-day stay here either. That's why I'm thinking there's gotta be something more to this. Some answer that's staring us in the face. Something that'd force a flock of top-ranking Jaegers from their nests and into hiding for 10 days straight. Something that'd make the commander come to the village at night all by herself. Feels like we're so close to solving this mystery, but we're still missing the critical pieces to this puzzle. Yeah, no, I agree. The fact that the... oh, what did we call it again? What was the Genesis. Like, the Genesis seems most likely, but we don't really understand how that works well enough to make any strong predictions, right? We think that it created, like, higher element stuff in that dungeon that we were in. I think that's part of what came up. And it obviously had a role playing in, like, the nightmare fairy tale Grendel thing that Van turned into. It might have also been involved in the gargoyles waking up, but I think they might have established that to be part of magic. Just like magic that was left behind in a similar ways we had in Cold Steel. prologue way back when. So I don't think we've seen that very much in terms of, like, effects that it has. The other one was the fact that it glowed when this all started, so... Not sure what that means, because it's not like it was near or whatever's going on here. It wasn't like a proximity thing, it was like, we talked about it. Which is very interesting. Makes me feel as though it has to be... It's hard to imagine not being time-related. Like, oh yeah, I'm glowing because you are on the right path for, like, me to be connected again. And via being on the right path, I feel a connection, that sort of thing, and I glow from that. Like, in time. You can sort of treat space-time as space-time, right? Where time is basically a dimension up top, like the 3D space we live in. So if you're able to connect the pieces of time correctly, maybe that provides a way for it to transmit data in between, and that's how it actually has the reason for lighting up, that sort of thing. Now, you could also just be magic. Like, as much as the series has, like, some good underlying logic to a lot of stuff, there's also enough that's, like, there solely for the sake of, like, doing the thing they want to do in the story that I can't rule that out entirely. And we can't crack the case without those critical pieces. Which means we gotta do some more. Oh, Tindermus! Get away from the door! What?
Sharp as always, Arkwright. And I can tell one of your companions is quick on the uptake.
Ooh. Who's that? Ooh. You gotta be shitting me. The hell are you doing here?
Good to see you too.
Really? Okay, hello.
Nice job fixing up that truck of yours. It looks brand spanking new.
Yeah, no thanks to you, you prick.
Hey there, girlies. The name's Walter.
Yeah, I don't remember. He didn't have a voice before, so... Hello?
My good old pal Arkwright and I go way back. He helped me out with a job once.
Once, okay. Interesting. It's a pleasure to meet you then. My name is Agnes. I'm his... Keep away from Agnes. The fairy?
Well, this is a surprise. Never thought I'd run into a Kruger kid here. You ain't got much muscle to flex, but your eyes are sharp as a hawk's. But I take back what I said about you being quick on the uptake. If you think you can come at me with a toy gun, then you're in for a world of hurt.
Who is he? Quit scaring the girls, direwolf. That's my client you're threatening. And for the record, this is our room. You can't just barge in and act like you own the place. I'm only gonna ask you this one last time. What the hell are you doing here? Oh, I'm just here on a little business trip. I arrived in the village just a moment ago. And imagine my surprise when I see a familiar truck at the entrance. Figured I'd swing by and say hello. I still owe you an apology, so I thought I'd smooth things over and ask you to take on another. Let me stop you right there. I am never taking on a job from you again. Frankly, I don't give two shits about what brought you here. Now get the hell out of our room. Damn, alright. I gotta be like that. I thought you took jobs from anyone. So why are you giving me the cold shoulder? Because you're an asshole. Oh, and you can forget about that apology. I got my replacement, so we're square. But being square and going back to square one ain't the same thing. You not only burned this bridge, you demolished it. Literally. Looks like you are a rare breed. I think I'll keep hounding you down until you change your mind. Until I wear you down. Whichever comes first. Oh, and as for what I came here for, I'm looking for a wild mutt who's been left off his leash. A guy with green mint hair. Ring any bells? Ooh, okay. No, don't look at each other knowingly. Don't look at each other knowingly. He'll understand. I'll take that silence as a yes. So, he's in the village then. I won't confirm or deny. I'm curious, though. Why are you after him? We're just playing a little game of hide and seek, that's all. I'm not in any rush, though. I think I'll chill here for tonight. I'll stay out of your hair, but remember, I'm always happy to lend a helping hand. Just throwing it out there. Get out! Fairy, are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. That was just really intense. Who was that guy, Van? He was terrifying. You're, better off not knowing. That goes double for you, Anyas. I'm guessing he's another person from the criminal underworld. In a way, yeah. He's got the bite to back up his bark, so steer clear of him. I don't envy that self-proclaimed bohemian. He must be in some deep shit if he's the direwolf's next prey. If that guy knows what's good for him, he'll drop everything and run for the hills. I'd probably turn tail if I was in his shoes. Staying far away from that bloodthirsty bloodhound. Ditto. Beginning to wonder if that guy really is a bohemian. Well... Melchior. Some reason that, like, the green hair and the name Melchior do sound vaguely familiar to, like, stuff I'd associate with Campanella in just, like, that style and both, like, naming and hair. Probably the style of, like, fashion, too. I wouldn't rule it out of, like, something Campanella related, whether it's like a version of him or like a brother or something else like that. Like if we learn more about like Campanella's like I've sort of assumed for a long time that Campanella had like no family and he was probably more like McBurn and stuff like that. So if we end up having something like that, that would be very interesting. Now, I'm not betting on that, but it's the only thing that comes to mind. Alright, it's almost 7, which means dinner should be ready by now. The food ought to help us take our minds off that jackass. Well, if he's staying here at the inn, he might be getting dinner too. He's probably drinking himself under the table as we speak, so we can just ignore him. I treat y'all to some ice cream galettes with caramel sauce. A dessert a day keeps the bastards at bay. That is a hell of a line. Oh, did I now? What did I do? Did I miss something? Get something? I don't even know. At this point, I don't really care that much. Oh, yeah, he is here. September 7th, 8:02 p.m. The food was wonderful, but I think I would have enjoyed it more if I wasn't so uneasy. I just zeroed in on my food and put everything else out of my mind. Which is probably not something a Kruger warrior should be bragging about. So I get what some of the comments my friend made. So I haven't been able to play this in a while, but I did talk to that one friend that like started the game in this. He had finished chapter 1. So we were talking a little about it. And some of the feedback that I got on like it being his first Trails game was... There is a number of stuff, particularly about enforcers, embracers, and Jaegers that are thrown around as proper nouns that he was not entirely just remembering. Like he asked me what an enforcer was, basically. That's ultimately what it boils down to. I assume that they're going to say enforcer at some point, just based on the fact that he showed up. The fact that I was asked a question meant that obviously Ouroboros was going to have some sort of thing brought up at some point where the word enforcer was said. I didn't necessarily expect him to show up, though. Ooh. Okay. But yeah, no, generally, from my understanding of my friend's playthrough through Chapter 1, I'll probably need to talk to him again once he gets to Chapter 2. He's going similarly slowly as me, if not a little ahead. Just because, like, this is like a friend I have from, like, the game dev stuff that I talked about before. So, like, he spends a lot of time on game dev, too, so he doesn't have a ton of time just, like, sit down and play a long JRPG. So he'll tend to also space it out in a similar way that, like, I do for, like, this channel and whatnot. So he's probably at actually, like, a similar pace as me, all things considered. So I'm going to continue to talk to him about it and whatnot. But at this point, it sounds like the majority of, like, there are some problems in playing it that are primarily just the names of stuff. Like, there's a lot of organizations, proper nouns, and that sort of stuff that are maybe being taken a bit for granted and not being reintroduced in the way that they would be in the previous titles. Which I totally get. I also totally get why, as a player, you wouldn't, like, go to the encyclopedia to look things up. The, like, little thing that they have. Is that available here? No, I think I have to open, like, a menu after this. Which is probably not something a Kruger warrior should be bragging about. I'm sure the chef would be thrilled that you enjoyed their cooking so much. Nothing wrong with getting the most out of your meals. Eating good food is one of life's finest pleasures. Yeah, I can agree with that. The skeletons were out of this world. Anyway, now that we've all calmed down, we should get back to the business. So, we know that Ida's shown up at night multiple times. This is a prime opportunity to ask people about that. Heck, if we're lucky, we might run into the woman herself. That'd be great. I imagine most people have gone home, but there's sure to be a few out here that are out and about. Both our residents and visitors might have some useful information for us. That is true. And also, all the dialogue gets refreshed. Oh. All the dialogue. Well, that wasn't as extensive that time. Story about a hunter who took down some freakish monstrosity out east. Sounds overblown, probably just an urban legend. Reminds me of the stories I used to read as a kid. What does that mean? Oh, yeah, he's the fishing cult guy. Still to be determined if there's going to be a fishing cult in this. I feel like someone made a comment about it, but I'm blanking on if they said there was or wasn't going to be at this point. He's really grabbed my attention. I feel like if I take my eyes off of him and vanish in thin air, I assume you're talking about Melchior. Hello. Meow. He wants to play too. Alright, I'll play with you for a bit. Don't make any worry like that again, okay? Yeah, I would probably leave him inside for the rest of the day at the very least if I were this family. Now, Ken, give him some space, okay? Lashkar's really come into his own. I see a dependable young man in his future. He's been talking about how he wants to be a bracer when he grows up. I bet he'd get along with Annie. She's a smart cookie herself. Yeah, I wonder if they would get along. Lashkar wants to play too, but I'm sitting at right now. I don't get it. Can we play with him tomorrow then? I think that's the idea. And he's a bit apprehensive. I think she gets that from me, but Kent's is her polar opposite. I have no idea who he takes after. Well, I do have an idea, being honest, but Gonzalez is still a good man. I understand Kent looking up to him.
Alrighty.
Right. Yeah, I see. Oh, I see you too. Thanks so much for helping me find the hero, Lashkar. No problem. I mean, it's all a day's work for a bracer trainee. I'm just glad Nero's okay. I don't like seeing you sad. It makes me sad too. Thanks, Lashkar. I know I'll be a bracer someday. You're so kind and strong. Wow, thanks. Now I want to be a bracer even more. Just want to ask, do you want to maybe go to the capital sometime? Together, I mean. I just want to see the main guild branch there. You can tag along and we can tour around? Well, if you let me, then yeah. I bet it'd be real fun seeing the capital together. No. Why am I getting so nervous over this? Gotta make sure I'm worthy of her. That means becoming a strong bracer she can rely on. I'm sure of it. Knowing is half the battle. I think I've got it all figured out. That's one way of phrasing it. I can always count on Lashkar. I'm excited to go to the capital with him. But I wonder, why won't he play with me in Kent anymore? Ah. I've got a feeling about that one, too. Looking my way. Well, you're the last person I thought I'd bump into my little errand run. Don't tell me you're still hung up over that now. You never change, do you? Shut your filthy mouth. You laid your hands on my baby girl and you chucked her like she was some damn chew toy. What now? Oh, okay, baby girl being a car, probably. Why am I even trying to lecture you anyway? You wouldn't get it. All you do is break shit. Oh, untwist your panties already. Besides, I'm pretty sure you've caught a glimpse of my own prized possession earlier. Now tell me, would such a terrible person take such good care of it? Don't think for a second that you're some saint now. You'll never know what that truck meant to me. Van's backstory is just, fuck, my truck got broke. Well, at any rate, I'm not here to dig up old wounds. Why make enemies out of allies? It's your choice to be butthurt about it. They've been chatting me, asking me when new hire makes it sad when I explain it, but they've been encouraging me too. It's kind of, well, it's been a while since someone said something nice to me. Maybe this is my chance to start over, start living smartly instead of racking up debts. Yeah, very much so. Okay. Happy to see that's going about as well as you can reasonably expect it to. Yeah, figures the barflies are buzzing tonight. They always rile themselves up whenever something happens during the day. I can still keep a handle on them, of course. That's good. I'd like to think that I'm well-traveled, but out here I'm picking up on a lot of things I never gave much thought about in the city. The farmers swear by fresh produce. They say it does wonders for your health. I then met an older man who could use that advice. Or some supplements. It's interesting to hear that takes on healthy living. Perhaps this was what the bartender meant by making connections. You definitely learn more about different ways the world can work via that. I'm grateful to the villagers for welcoming us for the night. It's incredibly kind of them. I live in Altair, and I visit a crossbow quite often, but this village has a certain charm I've never experienced before. I wonder if you were in one of the crossbow games then, or Cold Steel or Reverie. Something like the hustle bustle of the city. I can feel it easy here. I look forward to Rimaveria, but I'm kind of glad we ended up stopping here. Oh, that's fair. I think that's generally a good approach. And there's a shrinking Violet, I tell you, but she really puts a smile on my face. My wife was giving me a hard time the other day, but you know what Annie did? She stepped up to the bat for me. That was the happiest I felt all year. Love her to death, the kid. Oh. My children are rightly proud of their home. My daughter most of all. She wears the cloth well, for certain. Brings a tear to her old man's eye. Now my son, all conjecture, but I see the stars in his future. I assume you're Lashkar's father? But yeah, I'm starting to sound like an old friend of mine. Fawning over his kids for moons on end. Perhaps that's just what the old codgers like us live to do. Live vicariously through our children and punish any poor soul who lends an ear. Well, and then suddenly they become something that you don't agree with or something like that, and then the entire purpose of your life falls apart. That's never happened to anyone before. I can imagine my wife's being pretty headstrong herself. It takes a stubborn one to put up with me. Can't took after us for sure. Kid's always getting his nose and stuff. But Annie, my sweet little angel, she's just perfect. Where'd she get that from, I wonder? I think you might be assuming a few things. So you know where Melchior is then? I heard from Rand that Kine is doing the shopping. Okay.
Oh no. Don't tell me.
Is that an Orbital bike?
Okay, this is what Walter's got now? That's what he was referencing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hello, you two. This is quite concerning. Agreed, should we contact the guild? Did something else happen? Ah, good to see you again. As you might have heard, we've lent the meeting hall to the stranded passengers for the night. I went to check on them just now, and we can't find one of the passengers. From the other passenger's description, it was a man with a very elaborate get-up and striking appearance. We looked at the inn, but he didn't check into the room either. He may very well be in danger if he strayed outside the village. Yeah, could that be? Fits the bill. The self-proclaimed bohemian that certain jackass was after. And he left the village earlier too, didn't he? Maybe he realized that he's being followed, or maybe we got our own business to take care of, but we'll keep an eye out for him. Should we just tell the local officer if we find him? Yes, that would be much appreciated. I do apologize for having embroiled you in all of this. Now, where could they have gone up to? More traffic between the big cities? We might need to expect more visitors in the future and potentially more trouble. We figure out how to prepare for that. The way things are, we'll be overwhelmed if we get more big days like this. How to prepare for the future will be most important, both in this context and in general. Yep, that is a classic. A lot of traffic lately would be trouble. I knew trouble would be trundling in eventually, not this much all at once though. Everybody's understandably worried, seeing as the culprit's still at large. I thought we blamed the wolves for everything that's going on. What do you mean the culprit's at large? It's that we're getting more visitors thanks to inner-city traffic, but seems all these city folks are bringing city trouble with him. Not to mention the influx of international traffic. Needs to put a plan in place to protect the village's residents and these new visitors. Okay, what? Okay. Feels like a little bit of a heel turn on that one. That might be the meeting hall. Or one of these might be. No, these are just houses. Which one's the meeting hall? My little brother, Lashkar. Oh, okay. He wants to be a bracer. Says he wants to be a bracer when he grows up. Makes me proud as his sister that he wants to help people like that. I joined the faith for similar reasons myself, and it feels gratifying to be a source of strength and goodwill for the village. He shares that passion with me. Makes me happy to have him as my brother. I did not realize you two were connected. Lashkar was talking to one of his friends just a moment ago, and goodness, has he grown in my time away? Now that I'm back home, I can watch him grow up for myself, together with the goddess. Okay. I mean, I guess you must be relatively new for being back. Today's not your ordinary day for you. I'm just relieved Mayor Wang was able to smooth things over with the passengers. By the time I thought about lending out some of the chapel's room, he'd already arranged things with the meeting hall instead. Still sharp as ever. Yeah. Fairy's just over there like, are you still sharp as ever? And Fairy's like, maybe not. I assume everything will work out. It's really just him and Melchior that we need to figure out what's on the up and up for, right? Direwolf and Melchior that we need to figure that out for. I'm sure the goddess knows the stuff, but I don't know about kind of going out shopping so much. I mean, I get it. Real world experience is one thing and all, but she's my one and only girl. Can't help but worry, you know? Ranji's a real worrywart sometimes. Personally, I think we should trust kindness judgment. The little girl's growing up. If she wants to leave the nest already, that's her choice. I think going out and seeing what the world has to offer will do wonders for her. I don't remember who this girl is. Admittedly. Finally making some progress here. Now that it's looking like the bus will be back up on the road tomorrow. But we're not out of the woods yet. The night is plenty dangerous. We're not in great shape here as it is. Monsters, though. I think we'll have a bracer come down here soon to handle those. So says Officer Wally. There's not much I can do about the bracers as the one officer I can do about bracers as the one officer out here. I know the top brass doesn't much like them sticking their nose into our business, but I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth personally. Yeah, that's not who I was talking to. I was just talking with one of the officers about what we should do. No one was at fault for the accident, but nonetheless, the passengers' itineraries have been disrupted. Ideally, I'd like to get back on the road and get them through customs by noon tomorrow. How long does that take? Well, customs can take a while. Something you need. Yeah, I did forget to go around and actually buy stuff properly. To make sure I didn't miss stuff. Alright, I think that's everything except this building. Oh, that's her. Okay, that's who those two were, I think. Who they were talking about. Ah, welcome back. Hey, boss, these guys want to ask you some questions. Have you got a minute? Oh, yeah, I remember seeing you around earlier. Sorry for blowing you off. Had to hammer out some repairs on the bus. Oh, not a problem. I'm sure the passengers are more relieved now. Your apprentice was a big help, too. Yep, I handled their every need while you were away. No sweat. Oh, that reminds me. They had one specific question. I remember seeing you talk to that Jaeger lady the other day before you lent her our truck. How's she doing with it? Oh, right. She bought a whole ton of gas as it happened. Oh, she even bought every last drop I had of the stuff. I just had it lying around to solvent before she snatched it up. Not something you buy in bulk nowadays, but I'm not poking that hornet's nest. Ain't my business. Gas. You mean the stuff that old combustion engines used to run on? I mean, I guess a Jaeger might have their uses for it. You never know. I don't know why Ida would be using those old kinds of machines. And whatever she's doing with it, why would she pick it up now of all times? Right, you think this would be a low priority for her right now? Well, it's flammable, so maybe she's just trying to start a really big fire. I can think of a couple off the top of my head for what she might need it for, but we don't have time. We don't have enough info to make any kind of educated guess. We've got to piece together the big picture first. The Jaeger was looking for gas, huh? Beats me why she'd lug all the way out here for that gas, but I guess she had her reasons. You guys are looking for her, I take it. I'll help however I can. I mean, if you can. Well, that Jaeger needed so much gas for Ida, so only knows. Maybe her group got caught up in something. You look pretty grim back there thinking about it. Either way, you watch out if you decide to poke your nose in there, okay? Hop out however you can if you need it. Did finally have to sit down with Kaino while I was taking a break from the bus repairs. I hope I got through to that professional training ain't something you should just speed through. It takes more time than that. Now, she's awfully skilled, but she's always looking for ways to improve. It's rare to find that knack for learning. But she can't skip the basics, or she'll just trip over herself. She needs a way to take it step by step. That's how she'll find her way forward. I was just talking to the boss. I wanted to ask what he thought about my career trajectory, so I've been doing pretty well. I was kind of worried I was lagging behind. But I keep the advice in mind. You have to practice the basics, or you won't have the foundation to build the rest of your skill set on. He said I might be trying to rush things, and maybe he's right. Maybe I'm still green for failing to realize that myself. That's probably a decent way to put it.